and that type of situation. So we have obviously these multiple reports of damage going on there, and we have the big issue with this water and a new flash flood warning
for Iowa, Johnson, and Lynn County.
All right.
We can take, if we want to show the sky cams again too, this one in downtown Cedar Rapids over Pickle Palace. What is that, Highway 100, I think?
Oh, that's I-380.
Oh, that's 380. That's the S-curve there, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then...
yeah, just torrential rain coming down right now, and so...
blown over on I-380 near Center Point. That's from Nick Stewart, who even in Florida is still keeping an eye on things. Right. And speaking of Center Point, starting to see some of the aftermath of everything that moved through northern Lynn County and continues to. If you want to take my computer, guys, there in the back. Alliant Energy's got a couple, I think 2,200 people between just north of Center Point and then right there in Urbana proper that are without power. And you got a few folks pushing about 600 there, Lynn County REC, that have lost power as well. So you've got about 2,800 some folks just north of the Cedar Rapids Metro that have lost power as everything moved through. We'll see if we've got any update from poweroutage.us. Those seem to be those groups right there. So it looks like the thing that was on southwest Cedar Rapids maybe got cleaned up. But I will give you a look at the Earth Cam in Dyersville.
I was just bringing that up right now. There's folks out there.
Oh,
still out there.
It's like on the doorstep.
Yeah, it's right on top of Dyersville, basically. You can see there's the shelf cloud right there off in the background. That is right there now.
A little perspective for you. So 4 years ago, they're getting ready to play that Major League Baseball game. I don't know if any of you were, if Rebecca was out there or anything.
Yeah.
We were out there. We had, the day before the game, big storms moved through. The skies looked a lot like this. There's a barn, as you're looking through this area here, and they just zoomed out to help me out, thank you. But there's a barn just to, like, if you're looking this way, left and back of that iconic farm home there, that you had national broadcast crews, your local folks, everybody, and there was flooding within the barn as it was just a torrential downpour, and you can't help but think of that scene from almost 4 years ago now, and boy, you're running the wrong way, kids. If you're running out in the outfield, you gotta really hope folks start getting out of there. Maybe they're parked over on that side. Maybe they got to get through the corner or something. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully
very heavy rain coming.
Yeah,
It
people
seems
look like they're
they're
taking the
maybe
hit.
clearing it out. Okay, so I know, Cayson, you're checking out this. A couple of things, too, I want to note. That new flash flood warning that Grayson mentioned also does include Cedar Rapids now. So Cedar Rapids is officially underneath this flash flood warning. It's covering... we're all under it here in Lynn County. So all of Lynn County underneath the flash flood warning. This includes Benton and then down into Iowa and portions of Johnson County. Does not currently include Iowa City. And then we also have all of these warnings on going to the east. And in terms of that tornado warning as well, this is right into the Monticello area. This is still coming up as radar indicated, and there's no currently just a confirmation of anything, any sort of reports. But on top of all of that, of course, it's downpours that probably making it difficult. The warning is now out of Lynn County and just scooting to the east here through Jones County and into portions of just a small sliver of Delaware and then Dubuque, and going to be heading into Jackson County if that holds together. But at the very least, is this still warned for... Are we still on a 70 mile per hour here with this one?
That severe thunderstorm warning?
Yeah, it is still.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yes. So on top of that, if we go back, put that radar back on. Yeah. So, I mean, you can see this whole line here that is kind of just exhibiting that bowing out feature. And we talked about this concern that that wind threat was really going to take over, and that's really what's been happening now. You can see it here too, and this is some very strong wind, 60 to 70 miles per hour, tree limbs, anything loose around your house, the trash bins, the little lawn chairs or trinkets and things could get tossed around. You could see anything loose like shingles and such that could get tossed down. And then we also have them potentially localized here, which there is that little wrapping around. There's still a bit of that inflow there just to the east of Monticello, where there could potentially then be some localized stronger winds wrapping up with that tornado threat. And then we have outside of that still, we want to take the same precautions with these strong winds and the very heavy rain. I get there might be people who are like, I'm supposed to leave work. And if you know that person that probably drive through these storms, I would say to hang, because there's just been heavy rain coming down. On top of that, we're getting these flash flood warnings because of these issues with the rain. And yeah, I mean, we've got some really strong winds coming through here, and perhaps around the Scotch Grove area, some of that rotation ongoing. These are radar estimates. This is above still. This is not close enough to the radar. I mean, we're getting a little closer at this point, but still far enough away. Some 60 to 80 mile per hour winds. That has to be kind of dwindled down a little bit. And in the middle, we're probably finding some 60, 70 miles per hour winds actually happening at the surface. But then on top of that, a little bit of the notch there that could be a tiny bit of rotation occurring just north of Scotch Grove. This is riding south of Highway 151. Spring Hole there, Temple Hill, and are we back where we were yesterday?
I was about to say, these are the exact same places we're going to go to our...
McGarkle's Ford. I'm sorry. We've got Scotch Grove. I think it's further south. But we do have this this warning here. We're, unfortunately in the same areas that we're dealing with this yesterday with these warnings. The good news is we haven't had any reports. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some reports of damage with just the winds overall, but we just thought McGarkle's Ford was a funny name. Yes, Grayson?
Looks like we got another tornado warning.
Oh, yes, they just issued that one to the north there. And so they were talking about this, and now the Field of Dreams is on the edge of a tornado warning. They might be in it.
Time to go home.
Might be just outside.
Did they leave? Did people leave the field?
Be clear now, yes.
It's cleared?
It's
okay,
clear.
good.
I'll bring it up on my computer.
My goodness.
Yeah,
I mean, prolific rain.
Yeah,
let's see it.
That field. It's nighttime at the Field of Dreams right now.
Yeah, look at that. Look at how it happened all of a sudden. And that's, I mean, thankfully people got out of there, but that was too close for comfort, because you don't have to be in the rain for lightning to strike. And it doesn't, and then we have all this going on.
That's darker than it was yesterday too. The winds haven't picked up to where they were. I mean, you can kind of, again, by that concession stand, you see those picking up, but boy, that's a little more ominous looking than it was yesterday. And you see the standing water that was probably already there as it was packed too around down by the home plate and down the first baseline, third baseline. Yeah, just a ton of, hey, it's a well-kept baseball field, and the problem with that is it's flat. And when you get that standing water, it just sits there, and that can really ruin a summer staple for some folks. But luckily, everybody's out, and you see now the wind really picking up. You see everything whipping to the left there.
Southwest of there is where there's potentially some additional rotation, this tornado warning, where just to the east of Hopkinton, and there's this rotation occurring right here east of Highway 38, and then would be heading right into the Worthington area. It would be south of Dyersville, and then Epworth would be next in line, Highway 20, and then we have Bankston, and then unfortunately Dubuque's back in the rain, which is my bigger concern. Hopefully that tornado threat diminishes by that point, but we do have this out till 5 p.m. and then down to the south. I mean, we can even just kind of extend this out, and you can see these little notches in here where the reds are kind of picking up, and so that's where we're seeing that rotation. So just east of Scotch Grove, heading toward 136 south of Cascade, and then this is just where we could see possibly those spin-ups occurring. But at the same time, we also still have these strong winds accompanying the entire line, and so it's not just that tornado threat. But yeah, you can see it really good there. Go back to that reflectivity. You can see those notches of the wind inflow, and there it's a little less now, but still we have these lines that are just producing the strong winds and then the very heavy rain that's ongoing there. And we're going to just continue to see the strong winds, heavy rain, and then the flash flood concern on top of all that. So there's been thunderstorms that have been just across the entire area. Let's totally zoom out. Are you seeing anything?
I was trying to look on my phone. I thought there might have been a little bit, but it's still...
This is a correlation coefficient, which is a radar product that shows us objects that are not rain. So if there were to be a tornado and there were maybe pieces of trees being tossed up aloft, or some pieces of a roof or something, it would give us an indication if there is potentially some truth to that. There's too much noise. It's hard to... I see what you mean, right around Hopkinton maybe.
Yeah.
And you back it up a little bit. Hopefully not.
And the reason why I'm looking at it is because the Quad Cities, the National Weather Service there, is saying that this is a higher confidence tornado warning for them. The shape and the hooking that is taking place.
I would say that, that notch there.
They're a little bit more. They were just mentioning how that's something that they're watching rather closely and monitoring that one specifically.
There's definitely quite a bit of that inflow there. And so if you're in the Worthington area, Epworth, and you don't want to go out Highway 136, you don't want to be on Highway 20, the rain, the wind is one thing, and then on top of that, the tornado threat. And so lowest level of your home, in your safe place, wait this one out, it passes through, and then we can move on with our night. And thankfully we got some sunshine this weekend. We all need to dry out. But then this heavy rain's coming back into the Dubuque area, and if you have to commute into Dubuque or around Dubuque, flash flood warning continues there. We have seen evidence of this, and it happens time and time again. There was flash flooding last week. There was also then the same kind of flooding that happened, was it a year ago, Cayson, or 2 years ago that happened, that flooding in Dubuque?
Yeah, it was earlier in June of last year.
So,
I think it was June of last year where they had some big flooding there along some of those roadways that are kind of higher up, and all of it flows down. Yeah,
and I mean, we got this video yesterday, and this is the flash flooding stuff that, I mean, this is overtaking the entire tires of cars, where this type of water can easily knock you off your feet. If your car is going, it could be picked up and start floating away. And these are the types of situations we don't want to see people in. You don't want to drive through these flooded roads. We've seen some ponding starting to happen. It can also mess up your car. I hope these cars are okay. The water damage can be a problem, but we have this concern here still. This is from Dubuque yesterday, and there are probably some similar scenes that have already happened. And unfortunately, as more rain moves in, the ground cannot take in anymore. It's like a slab of cement. It's not going to be able to take it in. So we have just some heavy rain that's going to come back into that Dubuque metro area. And Cayson, let's zoom out on the radar and talk about the whole area here, because we have everybody underneath watches and warnings here, and it is everywhere. We've started. It sounds quieter around Cedar Rapids, but the south side of town here, getting into the airport, we'll see some rainfall reports from the airport. But entirety of Lynn County underneath flash flood warning. We have flash flood warnings back toward Independence and then Waterloo, Black Hawk County, and then this includes Vinton and Blairstown, Atkins and such, and then the tornado warnings, of course, the severe thunderstorm warnings that extend Manchester, and then we have the southern side of Clayton County. There we go. Thank you. And just south of Guttenberg, and then down through Cedar and Jones counties, and then this is just the east of Johnson County. But then this line is coming in from out of Cedar Rapids, and we'll see if anything gets extended down into Johnson County, or at least a little further south. But northwestern Johnson County, portions of Iowa County here, Williamsburg, underneath the flash flood warning as well. And I think friend of the program, Animal, said they had like about an inch this morning, and then they had some more rain yesterday too. They've been getting quite a bit. So
yeah, those storms late last night brought quite a bit of heavy rain as well. Had some winds on them. They were severe warned, but they brought another just we had a flash flood warning down in Washington County this morning. There wasn't any report that came out of it, but that's just telling that once the rain starts falling again, there could be issues quickly. And it's called a flash flood warning because it happens in a flash, and you don't want to be caught in that. And then we still have this very heavy rain coming down on top of also some very strong winds and a whole slew of warnings here. And it doesn't matter what box you're under, the green, the red, the orange, it's all causing some sort of problem in the area. And we do have some video of some flooding, and this is in Cedar Falls, which is currently under a flash flood warning. And this is just water probably in places it shouldn't be. It looks like overtaking maybe some retention basins or some sort of, I don't know, maybe it's like close to someone's backyard. That just is a whole lot of water. Is that a road? Perhaps. But yeah, it is just flowing. We've gotten a lot of reports too out of the just around the area of water overtaking the streets, even in the Cedar Rapids Metro and the Independence area and such. And Grayson, you have anything new from the Weather Service that you're seeing over there?
Nothing new. I do have the Dubuque sky came up though, if you guys want to take that. It doesn't look like it's obviously not raining there yet, but probably gonna start here in the next probably, what, 10, 15, 20 minutes?
Probably.
But you can see the clouds are moving super fast if you just, like, look at that.
And notice there as well, so this camera is looking to the kind of west-ish. Notice the southwest, but notice the flags on how they are actually going into the storm there. All those winds are actually heading towards those storms at this point. Those winds are going to be generally out of the east or northeast, so those are all kind of feeding into that storm right now, which is leading into that tornado warning that is in Dubuque County currently ongoing for right now. There have been a couple, I don't know if you've seen them, there's been a couple of other reports as well from damage like around Lindale Drive and Blair's Ferry Road in Cedar Rapids. A canopy was blown over. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but
there's widespread reports of the northern part of the county, trees down, which is Lafayette on the northern side of Lynn County, and so lots of reports of trees down. We don't need to lose any more trees, man.
Urbana too, yeah.
That's a bummer.
A trampoline flipped on the road, some branches, limbs, power lines down too.
Years ago today that there was the big hailstorm and windstorm down in, I know it was in Johnson, I was in North Liberty at the time, and there were tents up and tents went flying. That was 5 years ago today that was
when Ragbri was in town.
It was around that time.
Cayson remembers that.
Well, I don't know
was
if that
2 years ago.
Oh no, that was 2 years ago.
I'm
when
talking
Ragbri
2020.
was in town.
This was the
2020.
the precursor to the derecho.
Okay, yes.
And a month later, you have the derecho. We're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of that. But,
yes.
Lots of hail and damage and blowing all over there. I want to give you. I had something up. Our buddy Ron down in Iowa City. If you want to take my laptop here, just to give you a perspective from Iowa City, here's his view looking to the northwest, and you see just. Everything centralized just to the northwest of that view from his drone down in Iowa City. Just give you an idea of what that looks like as it passes over. And EarthCam at the Field of Dreams, they were zoomed in for a little bit, but you see just getting engulfed. That field looks prolific. Just completely water covered. You can still see a little bit those concession flags. Been waiting for those to maybe get pulled out. I'm sure they're kept down pretty good, but they've been whipping nonstop there as well for the last 15 or so.
And the Road Warrior is out right now, and there is a big old shelf cloud and a leading edge of some storms. Do you know where he is? I know, Cayson, you were keeping an eye on him. But look at that. I mean, that is a big old shelf cloud. I wonder if they're by the William or Iowa City area, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like it's shut down, but let me see if I can get it here. Let's see if
you guys have that website where you can track it too.
I think he's.
But this is somewhere. I don't know what.
I think they're actually in Washington County.
Oh, are they in Washington?
No, that wouldn't make sense.
Or Kelowna. Well, there's a shelf cloud. That's the leading edge of the thunderstorms there. That's going to have a whole lot of water, and we do have some heavy rain, some strong winds that will come with that. Sometimes the clouds bark is worse than its bite, so not necessarily indicative of it
it's on First
being
Street
super strong. But
in Kelowna.
They're in Kelowna. Okay. Yeah, so on the northern side of Washington County there, and so that is where just the leading edge of those storms that are still off to the northwest that are coming on in. And the concern down to the south was that closer to the boundary there could be some more tornadic activity. We're seeing these spin-ups actually happening in the storms. And Cayson, there was just a new warning issued to the north. I think it's up here by Dubuque. It's probably going to be impossible to figure out which one it is. There's a severe thunderstorm warning that they did upgrade to a 70-mile-per-hour.
I think it's this one.
Yeah, right here.
Yep.
So this is now up to a considerable threat. I think Dubuque sounds their sirens for 70-mile-per-hour winds as well. And so we have the same deal that was coming out of Lynn County here with the strong wind, 70 miles per hour, and then possibility that within this we have a spin up occurring. And then on top of all of that, there's also the rain. This sounds like a bunch of reasons to stay home on a Friday. I don't know. But if you have plans, they're probably getting canceled. I know that there are people that have things going on. There's concerts, there's events, there's camping to do and stuff. But this is safety-wise you don't want to be out at this point here. Highway 20, we were just talking about what it looks like in Dyersville. I mean, just dark. The rain's coming down prolifically. We then have the thunder, or the lightning, and the heavy rain on top of then the fact that we have these winds. And we've been getting more and more reports of flipped trampolines and branches coming down and trees coming down and damage occurring with these storms. It's happening whether it's the tornado or it's the wind. There's damage happening with these storms.
And speaking of those winds, and I guess we'll have to kind of see what the National Weather Service does. The Dubuque County Emergency Manager is reporting 85-mile-per-hour winds in Cascade.
Okay.
And that's a whole different ball game when we start talking 80 plus, because obviously we'll get to, that would be in destructive category, but that is also in that area where we've been kind of watching some of those stronger wind gusts on velocity that have been there across the northern Jones County and then into. So that would be right about here where you're seeing those pretty bright blue colors.
Yeah.
That could potentially be right on top of Cascade, heading towards Fillmore, Bernard. It's right on top of Temple Hill, and then this is working its way across, eventually moving towards the airport and everything in Dubuque, and into Dubuque.
Yeah, so if you're in Bernard, if you're in Cascade, you need to be in your safe place. If you're in Dubuque, I would just suggest staying put. You know somebody who's in Dubuque who's leaving work or around Epworth, or anyone who's heading toward Dubuque, around Dubuque, I would just be hanging tight. And there was a bit of rotation earlier around Cascade. I don't know if maybe there was a spin up that led to that wind, but if that was an observed, actual gust there, that's probably what prompted at least a 70-mile-per-hour warning. So that's what happened there, but we're not seeing any reports, at least.
They had just updated the severe thunderstorm warning for Jones, Jackson, and Dubuque County to 90 miles an hour. We have a destructive thunderstorm.
Okay, so this is a situation where you're taking your tornado precautions, you're taking your severe weather precautions, and we are staying put with these storms that could be producing some destructive, this is the wording that is used by the National Weather Service, destructive winds, and this can bring down trees. This is the point where we start to see trees getting brought down, power lines potentially being brought down, and more serious damage. And the part about this that is the worst when we're talking straight line winds is the fact that when we're talking about a tornado, it's a localized area, and tornadoes do horrible damage. But then we're talking about a big old area where we're talking that could cause much more damage because of how widespread it can be. And so you need to be in your safe place, and this entire line here, this entire line is causing some sort of damage all the way from around Guttenberg down to the south and heading into areas like Dubuque, Epworth, Piasta, Bernard here, down to the south. What do we got going here, Cayson, if we can scoot a little further down?
Oh, down further south here?
Yes. So this is going into Jackson County and Wyoming. I mean, you still have considerable 70-mile-per-hour winds, and some of this is still back into portions of Jones County, and then you have Cedar County underneath this warning as well, into Clarence and Tipton. And can we scoot toward Iowa City as well, further south, back down toward Johnson County? And so there's no warning that's been extended here yet. Some of these storms we were seeing from Kelowna, from the Road Warrior, what that looked like in terms of the shelf cloud there coming in. So you can see there's all the rain behind all that's coming on in. So you're going to get a shot of the scary looking cloud that's coming into the Iowa City area and toward Riverside and such. That may actually be a little, I wonder if it's a little gust front going on there around the Riverside area. Potentially could have some winds before the rain even hits. And then you're going to get into that rain too behind it. But there's heavy rain from Iowa City, just east of Iowa City, down toward Williamsburg around Solon. And then Tipton, we have rain coming down and some strong winds. So let's go back to that destructive warning.
I will see if I can be able to try and get
I know
it.
there's
That's
so
the main
much going
thing
on here, and the main story here is there's damage happening. unfortunately. This is a strong storm that is producing some very strong winds. There's possibly a tornado in the mix of this as well. And then we have this larger zone where we could be dealing with the strong winds. Is it? I can't even tell where the polygon is, but it's this.
I'm basing it off of, where I know where the winds are currently at, and it's right there across southern.
Yes, this part right here that's bowing out toward Bernard, and then this would be here.
Yeah, I would say heads up if you're taking Highway 61 there, Quad Cities to Dubuque. That's a north-south road, and we've got winds that are going to be slamming you from the south and west. This is a classic case. 80, 90 mile per hour winds. That'll be easy for semis to get blown over with that here. But that's really the big concern. I know we've got this tornado warning ongoing. There has been that rotation in Dubuque County, but this encompasses that 90 miles per hour or that 90 mile per hour severe thunderstorm warning. As we kind of always say, you have to treat it like it's a tornado warning at that point. You got to be underground if you can, interior bathroom or closet, because that can throw debris. Imagine something throwing debris at 90 miles per hour. That's a smaller size tornado. That's exactly what that is. And you could have a little bit of a larger area than what an actual tornado is when we look at that potential wind threat. So
do they have it to 80 or 90?
It's at 90, yeah.
They have it 90 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, an EF1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're talking about then this widespread swath where it's all the winds here, and this is close to the Quad Cities radar where you can kind of get maybe a better picture of the wind. We could try to estimate the winds here on velocity and see if it gives us a bit of a picture. But they haven't extended this tornado warning to the east. I think this is becoming much more of an outflow dominant situation where the wind is taking over, and it is going to be the strong winds that will really be the main concern here around Bernard, plus the prolific rains coming down. And then this is going 151 and areas to the south here. And well, it seems like, because the warning, I'm guessing this is the cutoff for that warning, where it's south of the Dubuque metro with the strongest winds, but there's still some strong winds coming into Dubuque, and there's still a tornado warning technically that includes the Dubuque area. I'm not seeing much evidence though of there's maybe a little bit of rotation picking up, but it seems like the straight line wind is what's really taken over at this point, and that is probably going to be, unfortunately, quite a bit of crop damage that happens here. I will say there are a number of DOT cameras around Highway 61 too, if we could possibly pull some of those up and get a picture of what's going on here. But we've got some strong winds. Do you want to is it going to let you estimate the winds? I know there's so many polygons. We could try put up a query and see if we can see what the radar is saying. So that's showing 90, and we're closer to the radar here, 86 miles per hour. And so I get it. That's very, very strong winds here that are going into then Jackson County, could be toward Lamont, and just on the southern side of the Dubuque airport.
Yeah, they were talking about how they accidentally, there it is right there. I finally have it queried. This is the destructive 90 mile per hour wind. They're talking about how they tried to update a warning and then slapped another warning out. So you can see there's two warnings that are basically the same, but it's hard to get. So yeah, that's that destructive 90 mile per hour winds here that are moving through southern Dubuque County. That's going to be that core area here that is just moving, that just passed through Cascade. That's where we had the 85 mile per hour wind gusts. So heads up to Bernard, and then eventually the regional airport here.
It does include the airport?
And yes, it would. It does includes up to the airport. It technically, I believe
on
it
the south
doesn't
side
include
of the
the
metro.
city of Dubuque.
Yeah. The city of Dubuque.
Yeah.
T-cams and on Highway 20 in Dubuque. If you want to bring up my screen on the laptop here, it's just a screenshot you see there from the DOT cam on Highway 20, just how dark that sky is right behind there. And again, a lot of folks out on the roads maybe making their commute home, and hopefully they can get home quickly as possible. Sounds like Tyler in the booth's got some, there's the video of it. He's better at technology than I am. He's a younger kid. So he's got a look at that, and again, just the darkness there in the sky as that storm that Rebecca and Cayson are following starts getting closer into Dubuque proper.
Yep. And there's, I know we're kind of focusing on that 90-mile-per-hour area as well. I mean, there's thunderstorm warnings all the way down here, and I know we probably haven't mentioned some of you as much in Cedar County and everything. You've had some stronger severe thunderstorm warnings, even a considerable warning down that way.
Yeah, we've been talking about this. I said this whole line here. I mean, this is starting to get out of the Cedar County area, and we have some 60, 70 mile per hour and clearance, some very heavy rain tipped in, and there's still some rain back behind this as well by Solon, and then it's still raining in Cedar Rapids. We do have flash flood warning in Cedar Rapids as well, and then there's this issue. I mean, the reason why you focus on the 90 miles per hour is because that's not something you see terribly often, and we maybe last saw that was a year. That was 2 years ago.
That would have been 2 years ago in 2023. Folks in Cedar Rapids might remember that's where we had. That was actually when Ragbri was in town in Iowa City.
There we go.
And we had, I think it was like 90 or 93 mile per hour gust in Hiawatha, and those winds came here through the Cedar Rapids metro area. And that was.
Did they put a 100 mile per hour warning on that?
That was. We had 100 mile per hour.
There was a dust cloud that moved through downtown. It looks like something out of a monster movie.
I was in the woods.
Super dry then. You were gone, and it was super dry, and we hadn't had any rain, so you could really see the dust getting kicked up. And I think that was a 100 mile per hour destructive thunderstorm.
And I'll say, we're talking. Can you zoom in on this area in particular? And so this is right on the Dubuque-Jackson County line, and some of these winds could extend into the Dubuque airport, where potentially we have that kind of wrapping up of the possible rotation with a tornado, at least possibility there. And so that's one thing we'll watch here. But then the town names, Bernard, we have Lamont here. Can you zoom in if there's anything else? Maybe we have Highway 61 and the Dubuque airport, Key West. Is there anything else like around here? I know I've driven this way, but you have Highway 61 at least and the Dubuque airport. I'm just curious because I'm going to guess there's probably a lot of farms, and there's probably going to be quite a bit of crop damage that comes out of this, unfortunately, and that happens often with these. There's also then the addition of the power outages that could be occurring and some additional damage with trees and such. I'm not sure if we have any power outage update either, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some more come in here soon, just with how strong the winds have been, because this entire line has been producing largely between 70 to 90 mile per hour winds, which is not common, and we knew that there could be some strong winds with these storms. We've just seen things really ramp up as it's pushed to the east now, and this is exactly in the area south of Highway 20, just near and south of Highway 20. We've been talking about there being strong winds and that possible tornado threat, and that's exactly what's happening here. So those strong winds going to get into the Dubuque airport. We'll see report out of Dubuque if that happens, and then continuing to push through Jackson County, so south side of Dubuque, and then still here. This warning is still for, I think, 70 miles per hour. The severe thunderstorm warning. I can try and click on them. It's. I
think it's a considerable one. Yeah. If we want to, we can pull up our Dubuque Skycam here as well. That's a shot of the storms beginning to move on in. So you folks in Dubuque, of course, another heads up for you here. This is obviously not only a threat for the flash flooding, which we've seen a lot of here as of recently for you. This could potentially be winds 70 to maybe 80 miles per hour, maybe even as high as 90 miles per hour that will be moving into your city limits. The strongest winds are to the south of town. That's going to be closer to the airport there. We're going to get a nice idea of how strong the winds are. We should get a pretty good official report out of that here in the next, I'd probably say 5 to 10-ish minutes out of Dubuque there. But just a heads up, that's what it's looking like. And this is going to be coming in. You're going to get a wall of water. And if you live in some of those areas that have dealt with the flash flooding here, whether it was yesterday or some of the heavier rain you've already picked up today, understand that that could potentially happen once again. And we've already got things that are very saturated across the area here. So we can go back to radar if we want now. We can take a look at reflectivity, just more of the same. We still have a couple of those tornado warnings ongoing as well. You should be in shelter regardless. I'm not seeing a whole lot of indications of potential rotation taking place, but there obviously could be still, our main kind of thing there is we do have that core of winds that is down there near Bernard, working its way a little bit closer to the regional airport here, as now we've got a decent gauge on things, given that this is a little bit closer to the radar site in Davenport. But other than that, I haven't seen a whole lot of reports of wind damage since we kind of got that measurement of 85 in Cascade.
I was going to say too, the fact that obviously that was coming in Cascade is enough to have some concern and for them to issue that 90-mile-per-hour warning. And then we also have, on top of that, the heavy rain coming into Dubuque, where flash flood warning continues, and some just prolific downpours coming down here that's going to likely lead to some more scenes in the city of Dubuque that we saw yesterday. And if we zoom out further here, just to kind of get a look at this, let's take a look at the whole line, just like get us all the way out here so we can kind of see. So we have still some light rain up to the north. There was something in my brain. It was Clayton County, but it looks like a little sliver of it got added into a flash flood warning. I saw there. So there's that. Who knows if we'll ever get to it. But the southeast side of Clayton County, we have these other flash flood warnings going on. And then we have this rain. There's not been warnings on this south side here, and that's okay. We've got some thunderstorms, though, moving on through, some heavy rain that's happening here down toward the Iowa City area, starting to get into Iowa City. And then the heavy rain around Williamsburg, where we do have also flash flood warning there, and North English, heavy rain and lightning, and I-380 still lit up, portions of I-80 and Highway 30. And then we have the still strong winds going through portions of Cedar and Jones County, Tipton and such. And then the, of course, bigger issue around the southern side of Dubuque into Jackson County, where we have those stronger winds. So we do have the watches out until 9 p.m. But if you zoom all the way out, just like, let's take a big look at the whole area. This is going to take away the instability. This is going to sweep it away from us. We will have all of this moving on. Looks like they added another warning for that's getting into then Illinois and toward the Clinton area there. But these storms have been picking up the pace, and then they're going to scoot off to the southeast. We could have some rain still lingering behind it, but the severe threat will end as these storms push to the east. Let's take the Dubuque sky cam. There's the storms coming in. Look at that. So there's the leading edge of those storms there, and you can just see, Cayson mentioned this earlier, the just kind of some of the colors. There's more of the shelf cloud. You can almost see a little bit of structure and striations to the west.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But there's a shelf cloud coming in, how dark it is. I mean, that's all that rain that's going to come in. And what a scene there. And unfortunately, for a city that does not need more water to start falling there.
Yeah, I guess some good news, the really good news right now for Dubuque, the tornado warning for Jones, Jackson, and Dubuque counties has been allowed to expire now. So the threat there for a tornado certainly not quite as evident as what it previously was. But we obviously continue to have that threat for winds here, of course.
It looks like they knocked back.
Did they knock it
back
a little bit?
The warning to 70. There are so many polygons. I'm going to click on all of them to make sure I don't see a 90. I only see 70 now.
And I might have missed them, maybe.
It's still at the considerable level, so we're still talking about very strong winds at this point, and still some concern for damage, which we've been seeing with some of these storms that have been marked as 60, 70 miles per hour. But I believe that they maybe updated that to be down to the 70 miles per hour now. But regardless, some very strong winds ongoing here. And this is heading toward the Dubuque airport. Let me make sure. Yeah, 70. Man, it's just, there's just so many warnings, but they're all this considerable range. And I will say too, since they upgraded the tiered warnings here, which happened in 2021, right after the derecho happened, this was in the works already. And so during the derecho, we would have had these cell phone alerts that go off. They go off for that destructive level. The considerable level is kind of an extra step, and that's also a point at which a lot of towns and a lot of communities sound their sirens when we get to 70-mile-per-hour winds. But they do, this is the tiered system that started in 2021, not something that you see terribly often, to see this many, like, on that higher level.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, we were kind of watching them there, and it slowly kind of progressed from the west, where we had those storms, and we were kind of watching them. There was some embedded rotation on the initial edge near like Tama County, but they were still moving kind of slower. We weren't seeing the intense winds, and then they started to kind of ramp up once they hit Cedar Rapids. We saw kind of a speed increase there. It was noted they had a little bit of a rear inflow jet on them, which always indicates kind of there's going to be some wind getting pushed out ahead of that.
Yeah,
and
so you have this extra push from the atmosphere that's not only picking up speed, but then kind of pushing these thunderstorms. They speed up, and then those winds have that ability to pick up as well. So,
Yeah, so that's kind of what we saw, and then obviously a couple of reports that came in, and there's been a lot of reports. I know that there has been reports of damage in northern Lynn County out of these.
Oh no, that destructive still there.
It's still
it must be layered on top of.
That's what they were mentioning.
Oh,
I think they had the two right. You can see that there's two almost exactly.
Get
on
rid
top
of the other
it.
one.
But we've
so that's still there,
Yeah, that's still there. So we've had a lot of reports, though, from, you know, originally here in northern Lynn County, near the Urbana area, even on the northern side of town, of some stronger wind gusts, some damage to trees. We had trees completely snapped, some larger trees, certainly some branches down. We had a little smaller branch down outside of our station, and then those storms kind of intensified. So we've still got, I believe, that 90 mile per hour destructive thunderstorm. The good news is that we get to, this is going to get across. This is going to head across the Mississippi River right now, and that's going to help really end the threat around here once we can get it over into Wisconsin and Illinois. Winds have picked up on our Dubuque Skycam a little bit. We can take it if we want.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
To kind of,
some cloud to ground lightning there. I mean, you see the flag whipping around, and this is in a in town, and we're talking, this would be more so in the 70-mile-per-hour warning, some 60, 70-mile-per-hour winds possible here. And so down to the south would be where some of the stronger winds are. But you can see the flag is hanging on for dear life there, and it is dark, and it's 5 p.m. in the summertime. So that is, some strong winds coming through. And then the rain hasn't even quite gotten to town yet. It's about to really start to come down here shortly. But we have what I will say that I thought was interesting too with this was that some of the indicators that we typically see on radar with this strong winds, and if I back this up, you could see this curve, and we call this bow echo and this bowing structure. And so this is back about just maybe 20 minutes ago, and that feature would really indicate those strong winds rushing out. And you can see it's kind of flattened now. Not to say that those strong winds can't still be happening, but there's certainly a bit less of the of that indication there. And if we click around in a few spots, I don't know if it's gonna, no, it does not like me. I don't know what you did to make the winds come on, but there's 44, and so there's a couple of spots where it's maybe close to 70-mile-per-hour winds still. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's tapering down a little bit. But we're just talking about, we're going from one tier to another. It's still some strong winds that are coming through here, and it's caused damage across the area. That we've had these reports of tree limbs and some trampolines and whatnot that have been coming down and having these problems. And then on top of all that, we have the flash flooding, and we have just additional severe storms that already moved through and damage that's happened off to the west here. So a couple of spots where we do have these reports where some tree damage occurred around Center Point, Urbana, and near Alburnett, and the Lafayette area in northern Lynn County. There were some reports of the trees coming down there, and then we have around Cedar Rapids some tree reports of trees down, and around Vinton and such. And I'd imagine that once this all kind of passes, we may see a bit more coming in here as well. But there's a whole lot of lightning and still some heavy rain to go through the Dubuque area, and getting to the, right around Mississippi, they still have that 90-mile-per-hour destructive wind marker. We'll have to follow that out here of the state, and it's just starting to get there. And like I said, I imagine that it's likely starting to weaken. I will say, for the planning purposes of our newsroom and news staff here, we are at 5 o'clock. I think we will be able to step away from the weather coverage here in a couple of minutes. I want to walk this out just a little bit as we have these strong winds here, and then we'll turn it over to the newscast at 5 o'clock on CBS. And what I want to kind of just recap the situation in this respect of we have multiple areas with flash flood warnings. There's no severe thunderstorm warnings to the south around Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, but there's some heavy rain ongoing around Iowa City down towards Sigourney, and there could be some additional flash flooding concerns. We still have some strong storms around Tipton and Anamosa. No warnings for Cedar and Jones counties right now, but we do have still these warnings where there's some 60 to maybe up to 90-mile-per-hour winds, and the strongest of that is down near and south of the Dubuque, the city of Dubuque, and the Dubuque Regional Airport would be in that. So we'll see if we get any reports on that here. It does look like Dubuque at the airport, just on the leading edge, had a 59-mile-per-hour wind gust. And so we'll see if we get any more reports out of that. But severe thunderstorm warning for destructive winds still starting to head to the east, and seeing some at least 60-mile-per-hour winds, and still could see some damage from this. The good news is that we're going to walk that severe threat out. The bad news is we still have some of that flash flooding concern ongoing here. So I think we're free to turn things over to the newscast if you wanted to do however we want to do that. Producer in our ear, let us know how you want to move on, but we'll start our 5 o'clock news on CBS.
Connecting you. This is Iowa's News Now at 5.
And we're going to start with Cayson because we just wrapped up some little coverage here. So tell us what's happening right now.
Yeah, we've still got some stronger thunderstorms that are mainly starting to move into some of our eastern counties here now. So we're going to try and give you a little bit of an overlay. I know you've probably been watching some coverage here, but we're going to kind of repeat to folks. We're just getting into our 5 o'clock newscast here now. So we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing in the area here. This does include places like Dubuque County. At this point, we've had some stronger destructive thunderstorm warnings for this area. Some of the indicators right now, not quite as strong in the wind department. The Dubuque Regional Airport just gusted to 59 miles per hour, but you are in the thick of things right now when it comes to the heavy rain and wind. These warnings track all the way south through Jackson County, as well as into the far eastern portions of really Cedar County, and most of the severe thunderstorm warnings have now pushed off to our east. There is rain starting to fall in the Iowa City and Coralville area at this point, and places to the south and west. Nothing is severe, but along with that, heavy rain is also going to be a big concern. We have a lot of flash flood warnings out here as well currently. As I just turned the radar off, these flash flood warnings include here in Cedar Rapids, Lynn County, down into northern parts of Johnson County and parts of Iowa County. There's also flash flood warnings in Blackhawk County, including Waterloo, as well as Cedar Falls, and of course over in Dubuque. Once again, not only are you getting hit with that heavy rain and strong winds right now, we continue to have a flash flood warning out there. So be watching and monitoring the flash flood situation here. We will update you on the severe threat a little bit later on here and talk more about what we'll see for this upcoming weekend coming up in just a few minutes. Oh, and we're taking a live look from our road warrior right now. You can see in some of the heavier rain today that we're looking at for our road warrior right now. I think they are down towards the south a little bit. They were around the kind of Iowa City-ish area here, but you can see they're actually down further south near Kelowna there. Heavy rain currently ongoing right now there, and that's going to be the case here at least for the next couple of hours. Even if the severe threat isn't there, we will be seeing some heavy rain, so flash flooding will be a concern later on into this evening.
And we're getting a lot of dramatic pictures and videos like this one taken at the Delaware County Fairgrounds. Mandy Bieber, the county's emergency manager, tells us 4 cars were hit when lightning struck a tree at the Delaware County Fair. There were no storm warnings at the time, but it demonstrates the dangers of lightning when these storms roll in. Here's a shot of what looks like a possible tornado near the Newton Speedway. IndyCar is there this weekend, and they shut down practice and canceled all events there today after the storms rolled in. Drivers and crew members stayed in the track's media center until about 3:30 this afternoon. IndyCar officials say an updated schedule will be released. With those heavy storms in the forecast, emergency leaders are urging people to take flash flood warnings seriously. Just 6 inches of moving water can knock you off your feet, and a foot of water can carry away a car. Never drive through flooded roads, even if they look shallow.
An area that's susceptible to flooding or ponding, especially in the urban environments. The term "turn around, don't drown" is just hammered into everybody, and you just want to heed that.
You'll also